Hey peeps, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Amy here with another tutorial. So today I'm going to show you guys how I clean my makeup brushes and tools. So we'll talk about some of the products I use, some of the items, the equipment that I use, what's my process to clean my brushes to make sure that I am being hygienic and keeping my brushes clean. So I'm going to give you guys a quick view of what I will be using, and then we'll just jump right down to the heart of this video and start cleaning my brushes. So as you can see, my brushes are in need of some love and care. They are, they're dirty. My babies need some love. I have a nice little variety of face and eye brushes. And so what I'm going to be using, I clean my brushes with just some basic dish soap. So we're going to use some Palmolive dish soap. And I'm also going to show you guys, this is an electronic brush cleaner by Alora Luxe. And I really like it. It's good for cleaning the eye brushes. Not so much for the heavier, the more dense face brushes. It doesn't wash these brushes well. However, it does a phenomenal job of drying my brushes. So it really cuts, drying time in half. I don't have to wait days and days for my brushes to dry. I can have them dry in 30 seconds. Okay guys, so we're going to jump right into this. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on a little bit of warm water, and starting with a foundation brush. This is a face brush. The first thing I like to do is wet the brush. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can, see up close what I'm doing. So I like to dish soap. So I'm going to actually pour some of that in my hand. And I'm going to take this brush and just kind of using my hand, give it a good round. And then we're just going to kind of squeeze some of that off. Now this is going to take a couple of washes because this brush is very dirty. And then also something that I use, I want to move this. I have like some of my cleaning pads, and I found that by wetting a pad to do this faster and more efficient, I put some detergent on the pad, and then I'm going to kind of rub the brush around the pad. And as you can kind of see, that gets cleaner faster by having something to kind of rub the brush against. And I know they have like they have actual brush pads, cleaning pads, but I found that this works. And I get these from like Family Dollar for like $3. There's like 6 of these in a pack. And so I'm just going to run my brush all around this, really kind of scrub to clean. And this is a white brush, and so it probably will be stained. And then something that I like to do, I will wash until what's on this brush, until this brush, the water on the brush runs clear. So it's not quite clear. So I'll do this maybe one more time. It's done now. There's not much color, not much brown coming off of here. And so when I squeeze it, it is running white. So it is running. That is running clear. So this brush is clean. So again, this is a white brush, and I use brown products because I'm a brown skinned girl. So I said that I was going to stop buying white brushes because white brushes tend to stain. So yeah, so we will just, we just washed this brush. So as you can see, this brush is still wet. It's very wet. I'm going to take this dryer, this electronic brush dryer, and so it has a bunch of these little silicone cup holders. So I'm going to find the one that fits this brush. Alright, so I'm going to just put that. Yep, that's a good fit. That's not going to wiggle. That's not going to move. There's no play. Alright, so taking the electronic brush holder, brush cleaner, I'm going to push this onto, make sure that I have good support. And then I am going to press, I'm going to zoom out so you can see. Alright, so I'm going to press start. This is going to spin. I'm going to let that spin for about a good 30 seconds. Now, what I like about the Alora Luxe one is not battery operated. It does have a USB cord, so you can charge it. But the setting, so it has two settings. So the green one, it's kind of a manual. Then you have a blue one that's automatic. So after so long on the blue setting, it's gonna stop after about maybe 30 seconds. That's about how long it takes for the brush to dry. What I normally do is, when I don't feel any more water coming off of the brush, I'll stop it. So let's just let that spin for a few more seconds. I don't really feel anything coming off. Alright, so I'm going to stop this. This brush is dry. So you can see that this brush is completely dry. Don't have to wait 2, 3, 4 days. The brush is clean, the brush is dry. So again, it won't wash this brush because this brush is pretty dense, and it just doesn't work well with cleaning the more dense brushes, but it is a godsend for drying. So okay, so next we are going to clean a blending brush, an eye brush. So I'm going to use the Alora Luxe electronic brush cleaner to clean this brush. And so I've already selected the holder, I've already got it set. This does come with like a little bowl, like a little fish bowl to clean the brushes in, but because I have so many brushes and because I clean at the sink, I just use the sink. I don't use the holder. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a little bit of water into the sink. Not a whole lot. That's about enough. I'm going to add a little bit of dish soap into that water. Alright, so I'm really going to try to zoom this in so you guys can see this. I really want you to see this. Alright, so I'm going to turn this on. It's spinning. Let me see this. Alright, so I'm going to put it down in the water. And you can see it's turning the water brown. So it does a very good job of cleaning these brushes. So you just kind of let that spin. If you want, you can take it a little further in the water. Let it spin. I like to kind of cushion it against the sink. So we're going to let that kind of clean. So you can see the white tip of the brush. So that tells me that it's clean. Once it's good and clean, I'm just going to lift it up, let it spin. I'm going to let that spin for about a good 30 seconds. Alright. And that brush is dry. Alright, that brush is dry. All done. So that is how I clean the eye brushes. So, of course, using this one brush at a time, trying to clean one face brush at a time, will take me all day. I'll show you next. What I do to kind of make this process a little faster is I like to do multiple brushes at once. Okay, so running some water, putting more detergent onto the pad, all of the brushes down at once, and you just give them a quick little rinse. Taking all the brushes at once, I'm just going to scrub and run these brushes on the pad all at one time. I want them to be clean. It doesn't take much to clean eye brushes, so that's why I'm able to do this all at once. So once you can see it's changing colors. And so then we're just going to rinse them all off. Give them a good rinse. And these brushes are clean. So you can also, like, if you have kids, you can get your kids involved to help you with this process. So what I do sometimes is when my daughter's home from school, you know, I'll wash and I'll let her dry. So I show her how to work the Alora Luxe, and I wash them, I rinse them, I pass them to her, and she dries. So, you know, you can have a little assembly line going and have a little fun while cleaning your brushes. Okay, so all of my eye brushes are clean and dried. So that process is cut more than in half. So you can kind of see that all of these brushes, most of them, they're white, so they're stained, but all of the brushes are clean and they are dry. They are completely dry. Okay, so let's see how the Alora Luxe does with a blush brush. Now, a blush brush is not as dense as a foundation brush. The hairs are, there's a lot of hairs, but they're a little more spread apart, so it's a little thinner. And so we're going to start it and put it under. So it seems to be getting good friction. The water's not really changing colors right now. It's a little soapy. Let's see if we submerge. So it's a little slow if we submerge underneath. And this is a Real Techniques blush brush. So I can see a little bit of the suds turning pink. So that tells me it's lifting a little bit. Let's try to use the edge of the sink for friction. So I'm going to take a little bit of detergent and I'm going to pour it right there. And let's see if we can get this brush clean. A little messy, but that's what makes it fun. Alright, let's take it out, submerge it a little bit. Alright, let's stop it. Still a little pink, not a whole lot. I don't know if you can see that. So like it's still a little pink, but I would say for the most part it's clean. So it does a better job with the blush brush because the blush brush is not as dense as the face brushes. So the next thing we're going to talk about cleaning are sponges, or you know, beauty blenders or beauty sponges, whatever you have. A lot of different techniques that I've seen online about how to clean sponges. The trick to cleaning sponges is friction. So because it's a sponge, just running it under water, just running it under some water is not going to just like clean it. So I take, again, just soap. I will use my pad, but I'm going to use my hand for this. Kind of move that around a little bit to soak through. And then I'm going to taking both hands, I'm going to rub this together. And that's going to get a lot of that out. And then I'm going to put it under the water and squeeze out the excess. So see, she's getting whiter. And so I'm going to just rub my, kind of like I'm washing my hands. So friction is the key to cleaning your sponges. I'm going to put just a little bit more in my hands. Now I've had these sponges for a while, so they are stained. But I'm going to do, just like I did with the brush, I want to see this run until the soap is white. So still a little brown. And we're just going to use some friction. And just kind of squeeze out the excess. So it's running much clearer. Running a little clearer. One more time should do it. And you use your sponge, you use a damp sponge anyway. So even if your sponge is not completely dry and you go to use it the next day, you want a damp sponge anyway. So it's a win-win. Alright, so I'm going to just give that a final squeeze, because that is pretty much clean. And again, it's a white sponge that I've had for a while, so it's not going to be the white like it is when I first took it out of the package. Alright, so once I've squeezed out most of the soap, you can just set it aside and let it air dry. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you is I want to demo for you what I was talking about the electronic cleaner and face brushing. So I'm going to take two brushes. This brush is fairly dense, so kind of a lightweight brush. This brush, this is the It Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe buffing brush, and this is very dense. I'm going to start with this brush, and we're going to see how it cleans this brush versus how it cleans and dries this brush. Okay, so I already have the dishwater made. I've already selected the holder. I have the brush in position, and so we are going to start cleaning this brush. So I'm going to just take it. So you can see how, okay, it spins fairly firmly, but when I go to the water, it gets much like wobbly because the brush is dense. So it is, you know, taking off, I would say, the surface, like the makeup that's on the surface, but you can see like the friction that it's causing as I submerge this brush in the water. So it's not really, as I make contact with the sink. So I'm going to try something. I'm going to put a little dish soap here on the corner of the sink just to kind of give it something to rub against. I'll do it on this side so you can see. So you see how as I make contact with the surface, it's not holding well enough to really clean this brush. So if I raise this up, so you can see where it cleaned it a little bit, but because of the density of the brush, it's really hard for the brush to make contact and, you know, keep that speed to spin like the way the little brush did. It's not, it's just going to kind of splash around and make a mess. So maybe just trying to hold it on top of the water, it gives us nothing. So again, it's not completely clean. So I would wash this by hand. So let's take a look and see what happens with a really dense brush. Okay, the second brush is positioned. We're going to start it. I already made the dishwater. And so let's see what happens with this brush. Sort of the same thing. I'm going to take it over so you can see it. So we're kind of getting the same effect. It's cleaning on the surface, what's kind of touching the water, but if I submerge this in water, not very, look at the how unsteady this is. Alright, so if I take it to the surface to try to use the sink for cushion, we get nothing. So it's not doing a very good job cleaning the face brushes. Okay, so this is how that looks. Not very clean, and this brush is very dense, so you can see it's very dirty inside. So again, I would have to clean this by hand, and it will dry it fairly dry. So it, like I said, does a phenomenal job of drying these face brushes. Not so good. Look at that. Not so good for actually washing these brushes. Well guys, that is my wash day routine. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you took something away from my process. Remember to like, to subscribe, to share this video, and to hit the little bell so you get notifications every time I upload a video. So thank you guys for watching, and let's have a conversation about what you saw in the comments below. Bye.